Right?
Presumptuous to say he ghosted.
Okay, so they separated, ne?
Yes.
By the end of the day, they were separated, and then she moved in with another nigga.
Yes.
All right? And but he still calls them two amazing kids.
So I'm assuming he was still around.
Okay. But, in scenarios like this, and not to talk badly for, we have a guest, the lawyers in the studio. These ones there's certain cultures where you're not allowed to divorce. I don't know if that's saying it right. Or if you flip the script, you don't have the balls to do so.
Yeah.
All right? Now, let's get, how do you do this? What do we usually do? We go to Esquire first?
Yeah.
Right?
So that we
dissect it
before we
Indeed.
we embarrass ourselves.
I will embarrass ourselves, by the way, right? Wakili. 12 years, 12 and 9, we don't know how long they're married. 12 years old and 9 years old. This guy's been out of the picture for 7 years. So these kids are basically, they only knew them in their formative years when the eldest was 5. Well, not say knew them, maybe he's got access. But, they were living under the same roof until that eldest was 5.
Yeah.
The youngest was all of 2 years old. This guy now wants full custody. But surely they grew up with another daddy. First of all, what is the legal position here, Baba? Dissect this, please, sir.
The legal position is found under the Constitution, under Article 53(1)(e), that says that every child has a right to parental care and protection, which includes equal responsibility of a father and mother to provide for the child, whether they are married to each other or not.
Come on.
So equal parental responsibility, that's the genesis of it. But also,
so this covers everyone. We don't whether married to each other. It doesn't even have to be whether we live together. So, for example, that guy who's Father Abraham and is sowing wild oats from Namanga to Shimoni.
Yes.
Even that guy, his responsibility to his child is also that one equal. It's equal.
Yes.
But also, we in our courts we rely on jurisprudence.
I like that.
Which is, we look at precedent.
Yes.
We look at other laws.
Yes.
We look at other courts and what they have decided on issues. So when you read plainly the Constitution, it gives a certain spirit.
I like that. Yes.
So it gives a certain intention.
Yes.
That it should be equal.
Yes.
Father and mother. But
yes.
now, who is the father, who is the mother in this situation?
Indeed.
So we have to define who the father and mother are.
The
But
mother
also,
dead.
If the mother is dead,
yes,
and the father wants to take up responsibility, then there are factors to be considered, because at all times under the same Constitution,
right,
every child has a right to have the best interest of a child considered.
Yes,
that's what the Constitution provides.
Sure.
And that's what Children's Act 2022 provides. And so we go into the nitty-gritties of what this entails, and the circumstances that the court may consider before issuing a decision. And one of them I've just noted from the Constitution and also under the Act is that it should look at the best interest of a child. So if this child can speak for himself or herself and express their interest and say, hey, I consider the mommy's boyfriend as my dad.
Yes.
The court is going to respect that and honor that. But also the child could come and say, no, I have been interacting with this other person, but
I've been interacting with my biological father.
Biological, so I consider him to be the actual dad.
Right.
But you see, the children have a chance to express themselves, and also the decisions made by the court should look out for what is the best interest. How would the spiritual, not just financially, because he has this listener has expressed that he is capable financially.
Yes.
But there are other factors of the emotional, spiritual well-being that the court is going to consider. What is the best interest of a child in these circumstances?
Yes.
So that is one. Number two, it will look at the conduct of the parents when they are making a decision. And this is found under Section 83 of the Children's Act. When making a decision, the factors to be considered is the conduct of the mother and the father. So if the conduct of this man, he walked out, he left, why is he coming back to demand to be given a chance to raise these children. Yes.
Because as my lawyer, I must tell you that I found gallivanting with that man. When just say that man. Yes.
Well, the law is that we consider the conduct.
Bus.
So if the conduct, maybe he tried.
Yeah.
Does he have any evidence to prove it? Can he present anything to court to say, I was trying to reach out to this lady when she was alive, and she just kept on blocking and blocking and blocking.
Yes.
And you have evidence to show that you tried. You called the elders, you went for counseling, you wrote letters, you sent emails, you sent SMSs. And it's not your conduct that was out of place. It was actually the mother's conduct.
Hold on. And in this, as Museveni said yesterday, lucidly, we don't eat computers. Okay. In this ICT modern technology era, to TikTok, loose videos, that won't work.
How are you showing intention?
No.
TikTok?
Yani, you say you said behavior.
Yes.
Yeah. Now this is the late mom. This would be that person who is now living with my children. Yeah. Can you see what they're doing? That's how they're twerking. That's the club. You see that shisha bong? Now, observe the bottle of whiskey right there. Okay. No, honestly, can that be used?
It can be used.
Yeah.
It has happened in court.
Yes.
Even photographic evidence where you come across, I've seen a very ugly situation where...
Sorry, ugly in a sexual sense, it was a motor vehicle accident.
It was sexual, and the photos were part of the court file.
Wow.
Someone went and took photos, which,
this guy's a gentleman.
Some things cannot be said here.
Yes.
So some of those things you use for...
Luckily, they're said by legal guys, so we'll be fine.
So some of those things you use to make sure that you family planning.
Yes.
And there are photographs of the babies using them. Or sucking and such things. And so
my God,
those things would be adduced in court to show the conduct of the mother was actually out of place.
Yes.
And so they work to show that this person is not qualified to have custody.
I'm sorry. So let me just clarify it for you, my brother. So somebody took a photo. There's this toddler as a child.
I'm very familiar with what you said.
So family planning. So maybe just found a loose condom. They just started playing with the damn thing in the mouth. Wow. Okay.
And so that's one of them. The other one will be the culture and the customs of community. So the court needs to consider how does your culture go about maybe custody.
Yes.
Goes about marriage when the person leaves and leaves a union. How do you go about it? Do you call for elders? Are there cows which are returned? What kind of a conversation goes on in that culture when it comes to custody issues? The other one is religious persuasions of a child. So the child will be asked, whenever it has happened, I've seen it in court, whenever you go to daddy's place, for example, they'll be asked,
you say grace?
Does he take you to church?
Oh, wow.
And maybe you're a sherehe person.
Yeah.
As a dad, so they will ask you those things, and
we don't go to church but to say grace. We don't go to church but to say grace before meals.
Does that count? We pray before we eat.
Yeah. There are those questions that will be asked. So you want to find the best interest of a child is for them to grow up, because they have a right to religion, they have a right to all these things.
In fact, that's a very good one there, by the way. Because you know what, this generation, they said that they don't give a damn. I was about to use that word about the faiths. All right, but at what age does that even come? You're starting to ask these kids these questions. For example, Baba, this one is the 9-year-old. Okay, 9-year-old is pretty lucid. But at what age do you start questioning these kids? I mean, let's assume these kids were 6 and 4. Do you still ask them questions?
So the act gives a definition of tender age.
Yeah, thank you.
We call it tender age.
Yes.
To be the age of below 10.
Bus.
10 years and below.
Bus.
So that's tender age.
Right.
But it also the court is also aware that a 5-year-old may be able to communicate.
There we go.
And say what they like.
Yes.
And you find magistrates and judges asking in a very parental way.
Yes.
They ask very easy and simple questions to these children. And they ask them, hey, whenever you're with dad, mkiwa na daddy, ama kati ya daddy na mami, unapenda nani? Or sometimes the conduct is they ask that the children are brought to court and you are told, they tell the children, enda kwa yule mzazi unapenda.
Wow.
To just watch. Or they tell the dad, please take your child to just observe.
Pass.
Yes, because if you have a connection, the child is going to be warm towards you. And even if this child is 3 years of age, they'll be conducting themselves in a certain way. And if you're a mother who doesn't love their child, who has not been in the life of a child, it will show in court. And that's why you have found special cases, decisions in court, even in the recent past, where you've heard that the court has awarded custody to a man, where the mother is still alive and the mother had gone to court because the court saw that the best interest of the child was to be with the dad and not with the mother. So you find the full custody being awarded to the father and not the mother. So that's another factor that is considered. And so other factors are how you have treated the children. Were you abusive to the children? Beating them, maybe even harming them. So you find situations where children have been beaten and there was no supervision of the children. And this child is under the age of 5 and they are being left home with the domestic worker. And so those things come up when you're trying to fight for that custody, and the court will consider the factors.
All right. So the things that come up, the factors that come into play when these decisions are made. And there's a lot to think about, obviously. And if you're in that scenario now where I think you've learned a thing or two or four. That's why we also say that this one will make a very good professor as well. But now, we need to go now to the question at hand. Wakili has now dissected it. He has broken down all the factors that will come into play when as in terms of legally. Okay? But what advice does he have for this individual? I'll tell you what, when we get back, Esquire Eliud Ngugi is going to give that same set advice. And then what did you say? You still have time to have you say. What do you need to do there, Lorc?
SpiceFM KE on Facebook and X.
All right, we're going to get to that next. By the way, if you want to reach out to Wakili, what is your handle there, please, again, Eliud, please, brother?
Wakili Ngugi on X, and you can also find me on Instagram, and you can find me website ngugimboro.com.
I love it.